Hello everyone, welcome to the Whistling Hermit's One Card Spread series. This video series is primarily intended for learning how to read the tarot. However, you can also use this as a card reading for the day. This is a timeless reading, so if you are watching this now, its message might be for you. For this video series, we will be using the giant Rider Waite Tarot deck by the US Games Systems Incorporated. We will also be using the booklet of the Tarot of A.E. Waite by AGM Urania. The first part of the video will be a descriptive study of a specific card in the tarot. We will describe what we see and the insights and feelings we gather from what we see. The first part is characterized by spontaneity. We allow the cards to speak to us regardless of the generally accepted meaning of the card. By doing this, we hope to increase our intuitive capacity for reading the tarot cards. In the second part, we will be reading the description of the card taken from the booklet of the Tarot of A.E. Waite by AGM Urania. If you intend to use this as a timeless reading, you can randomly choose any card in the series that resonates with you. An alternative approach is to shuffle a Rider Waite card deck and pick a card randomly. You can then choose the card in the video series that corresponds to the card that you picked. Note that this series is a work in progress and it might take some time for the 78 cards to be completely read. So, without any further delay, let us proceed to the card for the day. Okay, so welcome to our card for today. We are now in part 1, the descriptive part. And what the card for today is the Two of Swords. Okay, so when you look at this card, there is no phrase that tells the Two of Swords, no? But there is the number 2 here, and you see 2 swords. So this is the card of the Two of Swords. And this card is related to the number 2 card of the Major Arcana. This belongs to the Minor Arcana. It is related to the card of the Major Arcana, which is the High Priestess. Now, I would like to show you again the picture of the High Priestess, no? Look, there is a similarity between the 2 cards. This lady is sitting down. The High Priestess is sitting down. The High Priestess is very still, and this lady is also trying her best to be still. The High Priestess is in a sort of like a trance. She is looking inwards. This lady seems to be trying to look inwards also. Her eyes are covered. Usually when we try to concentrate more, to try to look inwards, to try to listen more to our our unconscious mind, or the inner parts of ourself, our inner self, when we try to do it, we sometimes close our eyes or cover our eyes. So there's this similarity here, no? Earlier, when we reflected on the High Priestess, I said that it seems like the High Priestess is blocking the passage, no? But now when I look at this one and this image also, the 2 cards, I'm beginning to think that the High Priestess is not really blocking the passage or the portal that goes to the unconscious mind, or that goes to the world of the unconscious. I'm starting to feel that she is actually the portal that goes there. She seems to be blocking the passageway because we are thinking that these exterior things is actually the passage towards the unconscious. But maybe it is the way that the demeanor of the High Priestess is actually the portal to the unconscious mind. The need to sit down and be still, the need to be quiet, the need to look inward. Her demeanor is actually the portal to the realm of the intuition and the realm of the unconscious. It reminds me of the gospel passage when Jesus or the Christ said, I am the way. The way to eternal life is the imitation of the life of the Christ. His life speaks eloquently on how we should be able to live our life in order to be able to attain that eternal life, that oneness with the divine. He is the way, and the way is to imitate his life, to be a person of love, a person of charity, a person of peace. His life is the portal to eternal life, the imitation of his life. And I think somehow the card speaks similarly, In order for you to go to the interior world, to get in touch with your intuitive part, you need to have this kind of demeanor to imitate the priestess. So the demeanor of the priestess is actually not an obstacle, but the portal itself that brings us to the subconscious, or the world of the intuition. And when we look at it here, in card number 2, this person is in a stage in her life where she has to weigh between two things. This lady is holding two swords, as if she is balancing them, and she is closing her eyes so that she'll be able to concentrate more, which is weightier, which is heavier, which is lighter. It's like when you make a decision, you say, which is more important, which is less important, which should I give more emphasis to? So if you're reading this card and you are in a crossroad in your life, and you are trying to weigh which is the more important thing, which one to choose in your path, you need to follow this kind of demeanor. She's following the demeanor of the priestess. To sit down, to be still, to close your eyes, and to reflect deeply on the situation or the things that you are weighing. And just like the High Priestess, there is a sea behind her. Just as in the High Priestess, there is a scenic thing that is covered by a veil. The veil is covered. Behind the priestess is a veil, and behind the veil is a beautiful scenery, a promising scenery. You look behind this lady, and there is the sea. Somehow the sea covers what is underneath. So somehow the subconscious is behind her. That if she closes her eyes, be still, and tries to listen, then maybe she will be able to see what is behind her, the unseen things, the things that are in the subconscious, the things that are unknown to her, that is hidden, that is behind her, then she will be able to discern it more. Who knows that she will be able to see this also. The sea represents the subconscious mind. Even the moon represents the subconscious mind. And all of them are behind this girl. And she cannot see the sea or the moon. And for her to be able to to be able to see what she cannot see, which is in her back or behind her, she needs to go into silence, stillness, to close her awareness, maybe to lessen her awareness of the turmoil of the outside world, in order for her to see the mysteries that are hidden within. Also, when we try to look at the sea, the sea has a lot of waves, and it changes with the tide. The surface of the sea is usually turbulent. There are a lot of waves, and the tides changes. Sometimes the water would go closer to the shore, sometimes it would recede. So there are a lot of turmoil, and this is on the surface. And then there's a need for us to go deeper, to go into the deep, in order to understand things. So I feel that this card, this card is, yes, this is a card of decision making. It's like the fool being in a crossroad and trying to see which road to choose, or which one to this is a stage. If you are reading this right now, you might be in a stage right now where you need to make a decision, and somehow the card is telling us that we need to be in a stillness. Look, she's barefoot, in touch with the ground. It's like being in touch with reality, and there is solidness here. You have to be fully grounded. There is solidness here, but at the same time, there is a need for her to close her eyes and be in touch with the higher realms. So there's a need for us, if you are in a moment of decision making right now, you are being invited to sit down, be still, to listen, to really analyze, to really weigh things, to really weigh things. And to be able to weigh these things, there is a need of stillness, the need for stillness, the need for closing the eyes, and the need for us to listen, to go within, to listen to our intuition, to listen to our subconscious mind, to allow ourselves to be guided by the source, by the universe, in order for us to make a good decision. I don't know why there are some rocks behind where the sea is, I mean, there has to be a reason why these rocks are here. Somehow, in the turbulent sea, these rocks can be obstacles, but they can also be stepping stones. They could also be stations where you can rest as you go through the turbulence of life. I mean, if you are tired already of swimming through a rough sea, you can go to this rock and rest a little. And there's an island at the distance. It's like it's quite peaceful, It's like if you just go through the turbulent sea, there is something promising in the end, that there will be a beautiful promised land. It's like a promised land. At the end of the journey, there will be something, a land, something beautiful that is maybe a lot of promise holds there. There might be also a lot of dangers, a lot of challenges. Well, that's part of life. We encounter dangers, challenges, but it seems like if you start going into the turbulent part of your life, in their journey, there will be an island waiting for you, where you might find rest, find abundance, find the nourishment that you might be needing along the way. This could be, depending on how you look at them, you could look at them as obstacles, but you could look at them also as stations where you can stop and rest and find peace and recover in order you can continue your journey. But for me, really, this is the crux of the moment. If you are going to make a decision right now, you need to take the pose of the priestess, to be still, to sit down, to close your eyes, and be in touch with the moon, with the subconscious mind, with your intuition, be in touch with the source and with the universe. You see, being grounded also in reality. You see, there's turbulence in the sea, but in the ground where she sits, and the ground where her bare feet are touching, there is security, there is stillness, and also there is stillness in the sky, and there is the moon. So there's a need for us to be grounded, to be still, and also to get in touch with the stillness that is within. And we know that if you go inside, no, and if you go inside if you go inside this, sorry, that's the alarm clock. If you go deep within your subconscious mind, deep in the deeper parts of it, where the currents of life are no longer present, there too will be stillness. Well, so that's it. So the card number 2, the card, the Two of Swords, is a card of decision making, and there is an invitation for us to be able to make a good decision, to follow the example of the priestess, which after some reflection we are starting to realize that she was actually the portal, and the best way to go to the subconscious mind is to imitate her posture and her demeanor. Well, that's it for now. Now we go to part 2. Thank you. Alright, we are now in part 2 of the Two of Swords. And we are now going to read from the booklet of the Tarot of A.E. Waite by AGM Urania. Okay, Two of Swords. The Two of Swords. Okay, here we are. The Two of Swords. Okay, we have the divinatory meanings, warning, advice, and action. Now we go to the description. Okay. Wait. I need to put on my glasses. Two of Swords. Commitment to painful truth can be a burden, and so we see someone who has retreated into isolation and denial. She has blindfolded herself and now holds her swords like a barrier to anyone or any reality that might try to approach her. Holding the swords that way blocks her heart and lungs, and raises her center of gravity, so that ironically, someone who comes close without making noise could tip her over into the rough water. Denial is a dangerous state. This holds true on the personal level as well as the larger one, for if we refuse to look at our problems, they can hurt us all the more. We can find a more positive view if we consider her posture a meditative state. Then we might say she had closed off outer stimulation, including people, so that she can send her attention inwards. In such a state, she may become an oracle, a speaker of prophecy. Divinatory meanings: denial, closing off from others. Alternatively, a deep inner state, prophecy. Warning, advice: knocked over, disturbed, roused from a deep inner state. Action, a time to separate from others. Turn your awareness inwards. Well, that's it. Thank you. Now we conclude part 2 of the card Two of Swords, which belongs to the Minor Arcana and is related to the Major Arcana card, the High Priestess. Until next time, I hope you are able to resonate in some of our readings or some of our interpretations, and I hope it had also allowed you to learn some more with regards to the reading of the tarot. Have a nice day.